What do you think the leading health issue is across the world? For developed countries, the answer is usually cancer, heart disease, and diabetes. In Japan, the leading health implication is mental illness. There is an estimated 3.5 million people throughout Japan suffering from mental illness. It beats out every other health issue, including cancer. Almost 1 in 4 Japanese people have thought about suicide. Globally, Japan ranks third in the world in suicide rates, which is the number of suicides per 100,000 people. According to NCBI, the average length of a stay in a Japanese mental hospital in 1989 was 41 times the average stay of patients in the United States. Mental illness, such as depression and schizophrenia, often cause people to feel isolated and alone. This, combined with how stressful working conditions are in Japan, many workers clocking in over 70 hours a week, are the main reason why many Japanese people resort to suicide. In Japan's collective hivemind, they think mental problems are a defect and a sign of weakness. Recently, there was an attack at a specialist facility for the disabled where 19 patients were stabbed to death. Although this has been the largest homicide attack in the last 50 years, the victims have remained relatively anonymous, and there has not been much public mourning. The spotlight has been given to Japan's discomfort with disability and how the attack has been perceived by others as an act of mercy. Takashi Ono, a father of one of the victims who survived the attack, speaks out against the issue.
People with disabilities are living their lives as best as they can, and they don't see themselves as disabled. Healthy people just label them as disabled and look down on them or discriminate against them. I hate that.
Mental illness is seen as an inability to adapt, meaning they blame the affected individuals for not trying hard enough. They see illness such as depression as the person being lazy or weak. This is largely due to the culture believing that psychological factors, such as weaknesses of personality, are the causes of mental illness. According to Japanese mental health, the collective culture's beliefs are slow to change. Evidence of this is that employers, 61% of which would never employ someone with mental illness. It is important that mentally ill patients are assimilated into the culture rather than not being exiled as a separate community. It is important to note that the stigma is stronger in elderly rather than the younger people.
自殺しちゃうのって誰がいけないんでしょうか。
責任論じゃないと思いますね。誰が悪いとかじゃないと思います。
自殺する方が悪いんだよね。粘りがないんだよね。道徳的に自殺は悪いですよっていう人はほとんどいないからね。
We interviewed some students from Jones College Prep in order to show the comparison between American citizens and Japanese citizens. Are you aware of the social stigma against mental illness in Japan?
Sort of.
Can you explain?
Well, I know of it. I know that there is one, but I don't know the specifics.
I knew that there was high suicide rates in Japan, but I never knew about that.
Since Japan is a developed first world country, why is the government so slow to reform the mental health infrastructure?
Probably because it moved up the ranks really fast compared to like other first world countries. And
Probably just politics. There's always a lot of things to do in politics and just people's agendas, and that's probably why, but that's just coming from a US perspective. I don't actually know anything about Japan.
So why do you think this view on mental illness is so different from the US? Like, why do you think they don't see it as important like we do?
Well, it's not talked about a lot in Japan. Here, people are starting to talk about it more. They also so from what I know, Japan likes progress a lot, so they would rather have progress than take care of their citizens.
But wouldn't it be progress to advance in that field as well?
It would be, but there's more profit if you don't care for your citizens and only care for profit.
Just culture, customs, things that just anything that makes them different from here in the U.S. Like, yeah.
How would you feel if this stigma of mental illness was present here in the United States, just as it is in Japan?
I think over time, people will start calling it out, because I feel like here in America, we didn't call it out until later, and eventually, people will start noticing.
So if I had to experience it, I would probably be like fighting for like better laws to help with mental illness. But since like it's not here, there's nothing for me to do right now.
After hearing all of this, you may be thinking, what can you do to help? How can we, as a different society, help combat this stigma? One of the best actions you can carry out is to volunteer at the Center of Japanese Mental Illness. It is located at 2185 South Los Robles Avenue, San Marino, California, 91108. Don't have a plane ticket to California? That's fine, because you can still show your support by donating through the CJMI website. You can give help to our Japanese friends who are unable to help themselves. 100% of the money you donate are used to support suicide prevention programs, schooling programs for children, and to help spread awareness of this issue. There's no need to worry if you're short on cash, because there is also another option that is free of charge. You can write a letter of support to the CJMI, and the center will distribute it to the patients suffering from mental illnesses and other affected individuals. Most importantly, regardless of which option you choose, please share this video so that others are made aware of the cause and how they can contribute. And with increased awareness and attention, our voices can be heard. People suffering from mental illness shouldn't be told that they are weak, worthless, and lazy, because everyone deserves compassion and affection.